folks, and welcome back to our final Friday night episode brought to you by 911 Air Repair, your local air conditioning expert specializing in maintenance, repair, and new installations. Like I said last week, we would be back to either continue talking about our playoff teams or giving you guys a season wrap up. Well, we're giving you a season wrap up because unfortunately none of our teams won and everybody is eliminated. So here it is. David, you were at a game, I was at a game. What did you see in your game, and where were you at, basically?
Yeah, we had LA Ironwood going up against the top team in 3A, Benjamin Franklin. This was a really tough game, and I don't think Benjamin Franklin expected so much of a fight from LA Ironwood in this one. It was a really closely battled game. They were going back and forth with rushing touchdowns. The rushing game was heavy for the LA Ironwood Warriors. It was just not. That's kind of their game plan throughout the season. Quarterback Jet Brewster wasn't really relying on his arm too much. He didn't really have to. He had a really good about 60-yard option run for their first score of the game, and they got close. But what really hindered them was they had an extra point blocked on their first touchdown, and that kind of really set them behind the eight ball pretty early. And they were trying to go for 2-point conversions the entire time. Couldn't get anything converted. They did have a really nice pick six that got them close. But at the end of the day, Benjamin Franklin's just a really tough team. And playing on the road in that stadium is really tough. They have a really good fan section there that kind of keeps the energy up for them. So it's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see where LA Ironwood goes from here. They have a lot of seniors on that team. Most of their skill players and their skill positions are going to be graduating now. Jet Brewster, Aiden Williams, most of the wide receiver core. That's going to be a lot of guys that they have to refill and stack up and bring back. But luckily for Lauren Dawson, the head coach, the offensive line is mostly intact. That's been a really huge piece for them because it's you can have a really good running back, but you also need a really good offensive line to kind of give them those holes, and that offensive line is going to stay. So it's just going to come down to who steps up for this team next season. They've had a really good run as of late. It's kind of an up and down on what they're going to be next season, but I'm looking forward to it. And I think that if there's any coach that can get this team back after losing a lot of seniors, it's going to be Lauren Dawson. I have a lot of confidence in him and a lot of confidence in this program, and we should expect them back in the playoffs, hopefully.
All right, so I drove up north to 30-something degree weather and was just absolutely miserable when it's not just, 30-degree weather, but you also have a little breeze going on. So, hey, it's not comfortable at all for a girl from Casa Grande. But anyways, I was up there watching number 11, Vista Grande. They were at number 6, Prescott. And these two teams had played earlier in the regular season, and I said last week, hey, Vista Grande can't commit the same mistakes they did the first time around. They didn't really do that, but they did commit other mistakes. So in the end, that's kind of what hurt them. They shot themselves in the foot very on from the get-go, pretty much. First drive of the game, first play, they fumbled the ball. Luckily, they got it back, but that whole drive, it ended up in a punt that wasn't a punt because it was also fumbled. So then Prescott got the ball inside the 5-yard line, easy touchdown, and from then on, Vista Grande was pretty much playing catch-up, and things just kind of snowballed from that point on. Much like LA Ironwood, Vista Grande has a huge senior class. These seniors are pretty much the ones that reset this Vista Grande program, so it's going to be interesting to see what comes next. Who's going to be filling on all these gaps? Because there are going to be a lot of gaps to fill up for this Vista Grande team next year. And unlike other teams where you kind of have an idea of who's going to potentially step in and fill in that role, a lot of questions for Vista Grande and this junior JV team, freshman team, and incoming freshman of who could potentially be starting for them next year. Overall, David, what are your thoughts on the season?
This season was a lot of ups and downs for a lot of teams. I think a lot of people surprised us. I think LA Iron wasn't necessarily a surprise, but just to see how well they did. I think we both expected them to be in the playoffs. We didn't necessarily expect them to be hosting a playoff game, so that's a huge knock for them. That's a really good job on them. Casa Grande had a really up and down year, just facing some really tough teams, and then just kind of a bad luck of the draw with the schedule, with their bye week being the last week of the season. So they had to play 10 straight games, and that's really tough on anybody. I think one of the biggest surprises here was going to be Combs High School. I think Combs was a really successful season this year. They had to go up against the number 1 team, Yuma Catholic, and that was always going to be a tough draw. But I expect a lot more from them next season. I think this was the benchmark that they were looking for. I think this is going to be the staple of them going forward with this young core that they have and they're building up. So I expect a lot of things from them, and we're just going to have to see how a lot of these teams rebuild. A lot of teams are going to be rebuilding. Others are going to be restocking. So it's just going to come down to who restocks the best and who has the right depth and who can kind of rise to the occasion next season.
For me, we've kind of mentioned them not really in a positive light, although we've tried to. Coolidge having the winless season, the return of head coach Carlo Hernandez. I think going forward, things are going to be there's going to be a little bit better mesh between them because the guys are going to know what's expected of them and how things kind of work. So I'm thinking, hey, maybe in 2-3 years, this Coolidge team will be back to being a playoff contender. And then over here with Maricopa has kind of been my big question mark for the past couple of years. Yes, they've improved, but they haven't really made it. They haven't really been able to set themselves aside from the rest of the pack. They still have they're pretty much a junior heavy team this year. Next year they're all going to be seniors. I'm hoping maybe that's the year when everything just finally comes together and they can really produce a successful season. And just overall, continuing on with some of our other playoff teams, Florence did a fantastic job this season. They got their first playoff win under head coach Jesse Hart. However, some of their key playmakers are seniors this year, so that's another team we're going to have to keep our eye on to see where they go next season. And Santa Cruz. David is our Santa Cruz guy. Hey, the Santa Cruz team unfortunately got bounced in that opening round, and also plenty of seniors in key roles, running back, quarterback, defense. So, hey, a lot of questions for us coming into next football season, and we're just going to have to wait and see how all of that turns out next year. As always, hey, we still got one team playing. Check us out, and we are making the transition to Winter Sports, our one team that remains is CG Union Flag Football. But maybe by the time this video comes out, they will be done as well. Who knows? But hey, anyways, check us out, follow along, and that's pretty much it.